Good morning, little baby. Good morning. There's a big puddle? Wow. Take a picture of it?
Can you take a picture of this?
Yeah, say cheese. You go. Cheese. So cute. All right, let's get ready for school. Come on, let's get in the car. Good morning, guys, and welcome to today's vlog. Please excuse the lighting. It is super gray and gloomy out today. We actually have gotten multiple severe weather warnings. We're supposed to get a lot of rain today, so it is very gray out today. Even when I woke up this morning, it was extra dark, which made it extra hard to get out of bed, but that is what is the cause for this lighting, so please excuse that. But welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be Lily's 6-month update video. We're actually currently outside of her pediatrician. Oh, I think that lighting is a little bit better. We're currently outside of her pediatrician. She has an appointment in just a few minutes, but she did fall asleep on the drive over from the boys' school, so I wanted to give her just a few minutes to sleep. She did poop in her car seat, which always makes me so extremely nervous that it has blown out onto the car seat, because car seats are so hard to wash. So whenever she does that in the car, I get a little stressed. So I do want to take her in a minute and get her cleaned up and everything. But since she is sleeping, I did want to give her just a few minutes to get a little bit of a nap in before we have to go in. I think she needs a few shots today, so I just want to keep her as happy as possible. But while she is napping, I figured I would take the opportunity to tell you guys about today's video sponsor. And today's video is sponsored by none other than BetterHelp. I have worked with them many times here on this channel, and I've spoken about them, and I actually love to recommend them to my friends and family in real life. But if you're unfamiliar of who BetterHelp is, they're an online talk therapy space. I just got a phone call really quick, but I'm back and I'm here to tell you guys about BetterHelp. So BetterHelp is an online talk therapy space. They help bring therapy to a more accessible space for everyone in their everyday lives. You can go ahead and sign up through their app or their website, and going ahead and signing up is extremely easy. Getting paired with a therapist is extremely easy. All you have to do is fill out a little questionnaire about yourself, what you're experiencing, what is bringing you to BetterHelp and wanting you to take therapy, and then they'll go ahead and match you with one of their thousands of therapists. They seriously have a therapist that could meet anyone's number of needs. It's extremely easy to get paired with a therapist by them, and if at any point you feel like your therapist is not a great match for you, it's also extremely easy to go ahead and switch your therapist to help find one that is going to be the right fit and the right match for what you are seeking for in therapy. Through BetterHelp, you can talk to your therapist through texting and messaging. You can also schedule like phone calls if you want to hear someone's voice, or if you do want a more personable approach, you can also schedule video calls so that you can actually talk to your therapist face to face if that's what you think would benefit you the best. I always enjoyed the texting and messaging because it helped make getting the help I need super accessible and easy. I could just send a message over to my therapist with what I was feeling in that moment, and then they would go ahead and answer back during their office hours. And it just made it very accessible to me as a busy full-time stay-at-home mom. But if you like something more personable, you can go ahead and do voice calls or video calls as well. With the new year coming up, it is a great time to start therapy if you want to start the new year and turn over a new leaf and work on yourself and your mental health. Right now is a great time to get signed up with BetterHelp. And if you sign up through the link that is here on the screen, it will also be in the description box down below for you guys to click and sign up directly through. If you go ahead and use my link, you actually get 10% off of your first month of therapy through BetterHelp. So I highly recommend, if you are in the need for therapy, if you want something that is super accessible and easy to get signed up through and get started with, I would go ahead and sign up through that link down below and start your BetterHelp today and start working on your mental health, because mental health is so extremely important to living a functional and happy life. I know for myself, whenever I'm crippled by anxiety, everything around me is affected. My life as a mom, my life as a girlfriend and partner, my relationships with my family. So it's always important to put yourself first and put your mental health first. So I highly recommend, if this is something that you think you could benefit through, to sign up through that link, get 10% off your first month, see how you like it, get started with the therapist. If you don't like that therapist, you can go ahead and switch and try a different one. And that's what I love about BetterHelp. So thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to go ahead and take little Lil inside, and we're going to do her little 6-month checkup. After this, I will give you guys an update on her. I did ask you guys for some questions over on Instagram, so I'll update you guys on what I talk about with the doctor, and then of course answer whatever questions you guys have sent in about little Lily now at 6 months old, which is insane. I cannot believe she is halfway to 1 already. To change her little diaper, get her cleaned up before they can come in and weigh her. And someone sounds very upset in the room next door to us. Hi, Sissy, where are we? Take you out. Okay, Sissy, it's okay. Where are we? Ooh, you're all warm. Warm and sweaty. Ooh. What are you doing? Gotta stay warm. All right, little Lily is all done. She wound up having to get 3 shot vaccines and 1 oral vaccine, and then she's not due to be back until 9 months. But next month at the boys' 5-year checkup, she'll get the 2nd round of the flu vaccine that she needs. So I'm gonna head home, get some Tylenol in her system, because her little legs are going to be very sore from all of those shots. And then either later on today or tomorrow, we'll sit and I'll give you guys the full update on what the doctor said, and then go ahead and answer those questions that you guys sent in for little Miss Lily. Okay guys, it is now the next day. The weather is so much better today. It wound up getting even grayer and gloomier and rainy yesterday. It started absolutely downpouring before I had to go and pick the boys up from school. So I just held off on filming this so that I could get better lighting, but I also wanted to sit down and rewatch the boys' 6-month update, since I find it super interesting to compare Lily's growth and development to the boys. And that's one of the reasons why I love having all of these update videos from the boys up on my channel, so that I can go back and rewatch them, and it is just so fascinating. So today I'm going to give you guys an update on Lily. We're going to compare her growth and development to that of the boys at 6 months old, and then I do just have very few questions from you guys. I think I got 4 in that I will address and answer, so that those are answered for those who asked those questions. So it is, what time is it? It's 9:30. Lily has been down for her nap for a little bit, so I'm hoping I can get this done in the time that she is down. But jumping right into it, let's start out with Lily's growth and development. And as I go through the steps and things that I talk about, I usually talk about growth, so height and weight, sleeping patterns, eating patterns, and then development. As I go through each of those things, I will compare to the boys at this point, since I did just rewatch their update video. And like I said, it is so interesting to see the similarities in their growth and development, considering that the boys were born at 36 weeks. So they were a month premature. Their adjusted age was always a month behind. However, I'm finding that although their adjusted age was a month behind, there's so many similarities between not only their growth, but their development at this age to Lily. So starting out with height and weight, I took Lily into the doctor on Friday. Yesterday was Wednesday when she had her 6-month checkup appointment, but I did take her into the doctor on Friday for an ear infection. If you guys saw my last video and follow me over on Instagram, you would know she got quite sick this last week with congestion and a cough, and unfortunately it settled in her ears and she experienced her first ear infection. So we did go to the doctor on Friday. She got prescribed antibiotics and she's been on that and she's been doing great ever since then. But when I took her to the doctor on Friday, they weighed her, of course, and she was 20 pounds and 4 ounces. And then when I took her to her 6-month checkup yesterday, she was 19 pounds and 15 ounces. So she lost just a couple of ounces, which is completely normal. Babies do fluctuate in a 24-hour period because of like the amount of milk they drink and everything. So she's about 20 pounds. And everyone always tells me, like people around me, that Lily is such a chunky and big girl, which she was big when she was born. She was almost 9 pounds when she was born. The boys were just over 5 pounds. So there was a big difference in their birth weights. However, at 6 months old, Jack was 19 pounds and 14 ounces and Ben was 20 pounds and 4 ounces. So essentially the same weight. So even though the boys were born a lot littler than Lily, they, I guess, put on weight a lot faster and caught up to this 20-pound mark. And of course, Lily is now at the 20-pound mark as well. So I find that very interesting that the boys, even though they were born a lot smaller than her, got to the 20-pound mark within the first 6 months of their lives, and so did Lily. So I don't know why people around me think that Lily is such a big and chunky girl. I don't know if we're just not remembering the boys. Like, I remember the boys being big and chunky babies, but I don't remember people being as shocked to hear how big they are compared to when people hear how big Lily is, if that makes sense. But they were all the same weight and they were all the same height. I think in my update video from the boys, Ben was 28.5 inches and Jack was 28 inches and Lily is 28 inches and change. I don't remember the specifications of like the change, but she was a little bit over 28 inches. So again, they're all the same height. So even though the boys were born, I think they were like 18-ish inches or smaller, if I'm not mistaken. I think Lily was about 20 inches, 22 inches, something like that. Even though there was a difference in their height when they were born, they all caught up to the same height at 6 months old. So I find that to be super interesting. So that is Lily's height and weight. She is just about 20 pounds and 28 inches and change. And for her growth chart, I wish I could go back and see like the percentiles of the boys and their growth charts. They do have their 5-year checkup coming up next month. I do want to ask the pediatrician if I could take a peek at like their growth when they were a lot younger, like their growth charts, so I can see what they were. I can't remember specifically, but Lily's in like the 99th percentile for height, the 97th percentile for weight. Her head is on a little bit of the smaller side, but she is following her own growth curve. She stayed consistently on like the 75th percentile growth curve, so the pediatrician's not concerned about that. But she was over her little growth curve for height. I think she shot up like 2.5 inches over the last 2 months. Since the last time we went, she was 4 months old. I think it's been about 6 weeks, she said, and then she gained about 2 pounds, which again is what the boys were doing. They were gaining about 2 pounds every few months when we would go, and they were growing about 2 inches. So I just find all of that to be so interesting. If you have multiple children who are born at like varying birth weights, I want to know, let me know in the comments down below, how did their growth compare over their lifespan, like one baby to the next? Because I think it's so interesting that my 3 kids are all so similar from month to month with their height and weight. Obviously when they were younger it was a lot different, but now that we've hit the last, I even think at their 5-month checkup appointments, the kids were all very similar. I can't remember for their 4-month, but the last few months their growth has been so similar, which I just find to be super interesting. For sleep, the boys at this point in time were still taking 3 naps a day, but they had a later bedtime. Lily has always had quite an early bedtime just because we've kind of stuck her on the boys' schedule, and the boys have always gone to bed between 6:30 and 7 p.m. At this point, when the boys were 6 months old, they were going to bed between 7 and 7:30, so there was more time in a day to add in a third cat nap. At this point, Lily has dropped down to 2 naps a day. Her wake windows are about 2.5 hours for the first 2 wake windows, and then before bed she stays up around 3 hours. However, if any one of her naps are on the shorter side and wake windows are on the shorter side, I do sneak in a third nap, but at this point she's almost entirely transitioned over to 2 naps a day. However, the boys were still on 3 naps a day, and I think the boys were waking up earlier than Lily wakes up, so that's what accounts for the differences in like their wake windows. They woke up earlier and had a later bedtime, but I think by 7 months the boys were transitioned over to 2 naps. So Lily is pretty much comparable in that. I think their wake windows overall were about the same. I remember their first wake window was about 2 hours, and then after that it was about 2.5 hours. But like I said, they had more daytime because of their wake up and bedtimes, so that's why I was able to sneak in that third nap. However, Lily, she still goes to bed between 6:30 and 7, yes, but she wakes up between 6:30 and 7. So with all of that, she's able to pretty much successfully do 2 naps a day if the nap lengths are about an hour and a half, if that makes sense. And for drinking, when the boys got to 6 months old, they dropped down to 4 8-ounce bottles a day, and over this last month, Lily has dropped down to 4 8 ounces a day. So she drinks anywhere between like 24 and 32 ounces a day. It really depends. Sometimes I'll make her a 6-ounce bottle if she's having a bottle sooner than the 4-hour mark. I like to feed her every 4 hours, but again, if any of her naps fall a little short and she wakes up a little bit earlier and she's eating closer to like the 3-hour mark, I'll just make her a 6-ounce bottle. So in a day, she drinks anywhere from 24 to 32 ounces a day, which was what the boys were doing. The only thing that's different for their eating schedules is at this point, the boys were having breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Lily still only has lunch and dinner because mornings are so chaotic with getting the boys fed and getting them ready and getting off to school that by the time we get back from that, she's going down for her first nap. So there really isn't time in the morning to feed her breakfast. But once her first wake window lengthens to like the 3-hour mark and I can feed her breakfast when we get home from school drop off, then she'll more consistently have breakfast. On days when she does sleep in and her nap does get pushed back, I will give her some breakfast to like break up the time between getting back from school drop off and her going down for her nap. But consistently, she only has lunch and dinner, which consists of like purees of fruit and vegetables and baby cereal. I have introduced whole bananas and avocado to kind of get her more introduced to the different textures. And she's had peanut butter and she's had eggs. I said in the boys' 6-month update video that by 8 months I wanted them to be eating whole foods, and they were really good eaters once we did introduce the more baby-led weaning style of things. And by 10 months they were eating like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, eggs, berries, like full meals. So I plan on kind of following that same path with Lily. Over the next 2 months, I'm going to introduce softer whole foods like the avocados and the full bananas, berries, things like that, to transition her from the texture of baby cereal and purees to the texture of real foods. The pediatrician also said I can introduce those like baby snacks, those like little baby puffs that they have, and the teething crackers, because they do melt in the mouth, so the likelihood of them choking is very small. I did give her a french fry the other night because we were eating Shake Shack and I wanted to entertain her while I was eating my dinner, and she sucked on a french fry and she did swallow some of it. So even though she does not have any teeth yet, and the boys at this age did not have any teeth yet, they didn't get teeth until 8 months old. Even though babies don't have any teeth, they still have the capacity to use their gums to chew soft whole foods and swallow them down. They don't need teeth to chew. They can use the strength of their gums. So even though she doesn't have any teeth yet, I can start introducing whole soft foods to her and she can start eating those. So slowly over the next few months, I will transition her more from like the purees to the baby-led weaning style of things. I've always done like a mixture with the boys. I started out with the purees and then transitioned over to whole soft foods, and I'm just following the same thing that I did with the boys with Lily because the boys were really good eaters, and I'm hoping that is the case with Lily. So that's growth and development, sleep habits, and eating habits. She still takes the By Heart Whole Nutrition Infant Formula, which I absolutely love. If you guys follow me over on Instagram and TikTok, you see I do post a lot of stuff for them over there because I am a partner of theirs, and so it has been really nice to be working with them and get formulas sent from them. That has obviously taken an expense off of having a baby, but aside from us getting it sent from them, Lily loves it, and obviously she is growing and thriving if she is putting on the pounds like the boys did. She is in a size 6 to 9 month clothes already. All of her 3 to 6 month clothes she's basically grown out of. All of her pajamas, especially because she is on like the 99th percentile for her height, all of her pajamas have to be 6 to 9 months or bigger because the feet get like too tight on her, if that makes sense. So she's in 6 to 9 month clothes now, size 4 diapers. I can't remember for the boys what size clothes they were in, but I'm assuming since their height and weight was basically the same as Lily, they probably were around the same in like the 6 to 9 month range. So 6 to 9 month clothes, size 4 diapers. She is a chunky girl, and I'm always tempted to say that, but I guess I just make chunky babies since all my kids at this point were basically the same height and weight. So that's everything for their growth there. She's one baby, her growth. And then for development, she does roll over belly to back, not very consistently, but that was the same case with the boys at this point. They rolled over from belly to back, not consistently. Nothing in terms of back to belly yet, but she can roll onto her side, and she is so close to rolling from back to belly, like a hair more movement from her leg over her body, she'd be able to do it. So I know that's coming in the next month. Once they figure it out fully, and they'll roll more consistently. But because she's not rolling consistently, she doesn't sleep on her belly yet. She's still sleeping on her back, which was the same case with the boys. They were not yet sleeping on their bellies at 6 months old. She can almost sit unassisted. The boys sat unassisted very late, so I don't really compare her to them in that respect, but she is almost sitting unassisted. I do put her in like the center of my bed and try and like balance her and prop her up, and then she will fall over and she thinks it's really funny. But she is getting to the point where she doesn't really want to be laying on her back anymore. She wants to be sitting up more, so we've been working on that every day. And then for Christmas, she is getting one of those little like activity centers that she can stand up in, so I know she'll be happy to have that. But not consistently rolling over, not consistently sitting up unassisted, obviously no crawling or anything. I'm in a mom group on Facebook for June babies from 2024, and it shocks me how advanced some of these babies are. Some of these babies are already crawling, and I could not imagine having a 6-month-old crawling around my house, because to me she's still so little. She's only 6 months old. The boys obviously crawled pretty delayed. I think they were maybe like 10 months or later. Honestly, they didn't walk consistently until 16 months, so they were delayed on a lot of these like physical milestones. But it's shocking to me that there are some babies in this group that are already crawling and have like 4 teeth. I don't understand that how that happens, but I could not imagine Lily having like full teeth in her mouth and crawling around the house, because like I said, to me she's still so little at 6 months old, even though she is not so little anymore. I feel like I can't remember already her at that like baby stage. I had to contact nap her a few times when she was sick last week, and her body just looked so big laying on me, and I can't remember what it felt like to hold her when she was little, because to me she's felt this size forever, if that makes sense. Like I feel like she's always been this big, even though she obviously hasn't. So obviously no crawling or anything like that. She can't say any full words yet, but she does babble. She's started to make more consistent sounds. She started to like blow out of her mouth and want to blow raspberries, so that is really good developmentally for this point. She can grab for things, she can play with toys, she's getting more interested in toys and in activities. She is so entertained by the boys, which has been so nice. If she's ever cranky or crabby, I lay her on her mat and I'm like, entertain your sister, and they run around the house, they sing songs, they do silly things, they like show her all of their toys, they show her like videos on their iPads, they like try and tell her things and teach her things. They obviously talk to her, so it's very nice having the two of them as a buffer to help entertain her, and and she absolutely loves it. She does giggle at them a lot. I haven't gotten like a strong full belly laugh from her, but she does do a lot of giggles. She does a lot of smiling. She is such a happy, smiley baby, which is so nice considering how difficult she was in the beginning and how almost colicky she was in the beginning. She was never diagnosed as colic, but I think she was kind of colicky in the beginning. It's been so nice ever since 4 months old. Like I mentioned, a light switch went off. She changed into such a happy baby, and she has stayed that way. And that's how I knew last week she was very sick, because she was crying a lot. I'm like, this is just not her. She doesn't cry like this in a day. She is so easy to keep content. Like I said, entertained easily. Just overall very happy baby, which I absolutely love. Her favorite person, aside from me and aside from the boys, is Harris's dad. We call him Pop Pop. She absolutely loves him. Every time he walks in the room, she gets so happy and excited. So that is a lot of her development and her growth. The few questions that I had, I got asked if she was crawling yet. Absolutely not. No crawling. I got asked if she's rolling yet, and like I said, she does a little bit from belly to back, but nothing super consistent. But like I said, once they figure that out, they kind of take off with that, and then there's like no going back. She will start sleeping on her belly, start wanting to play on her belly more, because then she can roll out of the position on her own. I got asked about her relationship with Harris. She loves to smile at him, very giggly with him as well. I think it's like the novelty, because she's with me all day, that when he gets home from work, she's always super excited to see him and very happy in his arms. They love to sit together while I'm bathing the boys, and he loves to talk to her, and it's super cute. So they do have a good relationship, even though I primarily care for her and do everything for her. I do like all the feeding and the diaper changing. If I ever need to pass her off, she does love going to him. She doesn't have stranger danger just yet. Not that I think she would ever have that with him, but I don't think she has like a preference yet. I know separation anxiety develops over the next few months, and I think stranger danger starts to develop over the next few months. Along with that, separation anxiety, I've been doing a lot of peekaboo with her, because that definitely helps with separation anxiety, learning that like I can disappear but that I will come back. It has to do with the whole like object permanence thing. When we walk out of the room at night, she thinks we're gone forever, so she develops separation anxiety. But playing peekaboo is a good way to help buffer that, and I do peekaboo with her every time I put her down in her crib recently, because she has started to get a little bit upset when I walk out of the room, so I know separation anxiety is forming. So I do peekaboo with her blankie to kind of buffer that, if that makes sense. But I don't think she has like preference for a person yet, but she does. Like, you can see who she likes to be around. Like I said, she loves Harris's dad. She thinks he's so funny. When Harris gets home from work, she gets super smiley. When the boys get home from school, she gets so excited to see them again. When I get her up from her nap and they're not here, she does kind of like look around for them. So she is starting to like recognize people and faces, recognize voices. I feel like she already knows her name. The boys, I feel like, didn't respond to their names until like after a year old. I don't know if she's responding to the sound or to her name, but if I call her name, she will look. And I feel like she's very aware of her surroundings. So that is how little Lily is doing. I think she's thriving. The doctor thinks she's thriving. She actually doesn't have to go back until 9 months. I think I mentioned that yesterday. She will come with me to the boys' 5-year checkup next month to get her second round of the flu vaccine. But then after that, she doesn't have to be seen until 9 months. And I feel like the boys went every single month. I don't ever remember skipping a month until they hit a year old, and I think you go like every 3 months. But because there's no real concerns for her, and the pediatrician thinks she's growing and thriving and developing normal, we don't have to go back until 9 months. So that is crazy. I will do like a 7 and 8 month update. Obviously, if I have like information on her weight and everything, I'll update you guys, but I'll update you guys on her development consistently over the next few months, because I do like to do this as like a video diary for myself. Obviously, like I said, I love to go back and watch the boys' videos, so it would be nice to go back and watch Lily's videos as well. But I think that's it for her little update video. Again, thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. If you guys are in need of any therapy and you think online therapy would be beneficial to you, like I said, I have a link. I'll put it on the screen here again for you guys to see, but it will be in the description box, so you can just click and sign up right through it, and you get 10% off your first month of therapy. So I highly recommend checking that out. I'll also leave like their website below, so you can read up on them a little bit more if you need some more information on them. But again, thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video, and with that being said, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.